The following is a presentation of KSL Sports. First and 12. A total roundup of BYU and Utah football and the expanded Big 12 Conference. Subscribe to the First and 12 podcast. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Alex Kirry on KSL News Radio.
We're having a great time on this Tuesday night talking Big 12 football. We do this every week. Tuesdays, 7 to 9 here on KSL News Radio, giving you a conference-wide look at the 16-team Big 12, the league that's home to BYU and Utah, but we focus on the entire league here on First and 12, and one of our favorite segments of the program is the Big 12 Sound Roundup.
Big 12 Sound Roundup.
Check 1, 2.
The best bites, cheap shots, and excuses from Saturday's post-game news conferences.
First one right out of the gates is some splaining to do from Coach Mike Gundy from the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who went up to Oregon and lost in bad FCS team fashion to the Oregon Ducks. By the way, I think Oregon played an FCS team last week. Or no,
Montana State.
And it wasn't this bad.
No,
right?
Montana State scored 14.
And so you have Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy, of course, last week made some comments about, I'm hearing from some coaches out there that they need to be, I think, scheduling teams that have similar budgets. I'm like, what are you talking about? And it just came down to him basically making up an excuse for why they were going to lose the game. And not only did they, he basically called out Oregon for having all this money. You're just spending all this money to win. And Dan Lanning said, we invest to win. And, man, did they go out and do it in crazy fashion. Mike Gundy afterward was asked about it, and he sort of did this, well, let me just explain what I was trying to say when I said that.
First thing is when I made that comment, I was complimenting Oregon for what they had done, okay? The second thing is, which I said later in the week, we've made commitments also, all right? But we have to be better and fundamentally sound and execute. That's really what it comes down to. And then, as I said, sometimes you're going to play people that have the ability to run away from you. Okay, well, then we got to look at that and see where we're at. But we didn't play good enough with the systems that we had and execute to put ourselves in that position.
That's a little bit running back, walking back some of the comments there.
Some revisionist history on a guy who is now firmly on a hot seat, I'm convinced, down there in Stillwater.
And the thing is no one was questioning him saying, Oregon is, we all knew that he was saying that Oregon was committed. We get that. Every coach wants to have the commitment level like Oregon and Dan Lanning currently have up in Eugene. But the problem is Gundy, just 4 years ago, you were at the Fiesta Bowl taking down Notre Dame and going on the stage, holding up that Fiesta Bowl trophy and saying, we got a brand too. And Oklahoma State was an incredible brand, and now it's been ran into the ground. And the only common theme is that the landscape has completely changed since 2021 with the portal, with NIL, with rev share, and all this player movement, and you're not adapting. And this brand that was really good just 4 years ago, winning the Fiesta Bowl, going to a Big 12 title game 2 years ago, it's suddenly been ran into the ground where you don't feel like you don't belong on the same field as a Power 4 program. That's crazy to me because Oklahoma State, you always thought was going to be a tough out regardless of who they face.
Right.
And to lose 69-3, it really raises questions, Alex, about how long this is going to last. They've got a game coming up soon in a couple weeks against Tulsa. If they don't win that game, I mean, don't you feel like that's a fireable offense if you lose in-state Tulsa, if you're Gundy?
The Golden Hurricane coming to town?
Like, it feels like it could be do or die for Gundy.
Really,
he's a legend.
No, and he is. But see, here's the thing is now these programs are having to make decisions that are bigger than even the legacy guys that are coaching their programs, right? Kyle Whittingham, if he started this season off 0-2, 0-3, like the Morgan Scalley takeover may have been actually earlier than we had thought. It might be him, the school coming to Coach Whittingham and going, man, we love you. We don't want you to go out like this, but we've got to think of the program going forward from a health perspective. You love the school. We got to make sure and take care of it. And I'm convinced that he's worn his welcome out. Not necessarily. I mean, he is a legend there, but he is living in a different era, and the people in Stillwater are asking him to move to that new era, and I don't think he's willing to do it, and I don't think he'll ever do it, to be quite honest. I don't think he'll fully embrace it at all.
A guy that's adapted to the new landscape is Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State head coach. He tried to explain that defensive play call that allowed that late game-winning touchdown to Mississippi State in the final minute.
3rd and 8, 40 seconds, no timeouts, 1 sack wins the game. So if we have a call that can sack them, you win, right? They've already driven the ball about 25 yards. They just had a drop in the drive, which should have put them on about the plus 48, which is 8 to 10 yards away from field goal range for their kicker, who's good. You don't want to go into overtime versus that team because you're going to get the ball on the side and it's going to be cowbell and loud. You're probably going to eventually get a false start at that point. It's harder to play a game on the road in OT in that environment. So you're not playing to try to hold them to 3. You're playing to win. So if you have a call that wins the game, you call it. We called it. It didn't work. You lose. Were we expecting, should that call have given up a touchdown? We were not expecting it to give up a touchdown. Were we expecting it could give up quick game that could gain 15 yards? Yeah, that would have sucked. Were we expecting it to give up a touchdown? Definitely not. We were actually calling it for them to take a shot. That call was for a deeper progressional route, which they ran, but when it doesn't work, it sucks. It's not nearly as fun as when it works.
Interesting take there from Kenny Dillingham.
Guess what? If your guys would have sacked Quinn Ewers in the fill in the blank bowl, what was it? The Fiesta Bowl? What was
Peach
the one
Bowl.
In the Peach Bowl? If you would have sacked on that zero blitz that you ran in an awful call, by the way. So saying it's just like people saying, well, if they would have scored more points, they would have won the game. We know. If you would have sacked the quarterback on that, you would have won the game. Instead, you didn't sack the quarterback. The coverage was awful, and it was an absolute walk into the end zone for a Mississippi State team that I think even was shocked themselves that they were doing it. I think they were like, we're getting away with this thing. And so it's a weird moment for Kenny Dillingham, and I get it. We get it. You're smart. You knew exactly where on the field you were. He was giving us all the numbers of, where their kicker, what his ability was and all that. I'm sure it was just him trying to tell people, don't worry, I am smart about this game, and I think that he is. But in that moment, they made a bad call, and I think anybody watching that knew that Arizona State made the wrong call. They shouldn't have been behind. I mean, they got down 17-0, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't do it against a Mississippi State team. And I'm not saying Mississippi State's bad, but they're bottom third of the SEC, and that's when you're supposed to go in there and get the win because you're the Big 12 champ.
And that's again maybe the tie into why Brett Yormark ditched preseason polls because what's Mississippi State labeled? Last place preseason SEC team.
Yeah.
And that just from an optic standpoint, defending Big 12 champ, losing to the preseason cellar dweller in the SEC, not a good look.
Did Mississippi State lose to Southern Miss the week before, too?
They beat them by 20. So they're off to a 2-0 start, but still.
Maybe they're this year's, you know what? They're this year. They're the SEC's version of the ASU Sun Devils this year. I guarantee you.
Maybe they are. Baylor coach Dave Aranda, they had a big win over SMU. He said in a post-game huddle on the field, after that SMU win in double overtime to his team, this is who you guys are. He expanded on those comments in the postgame.
It's a way competitive group. There's guys that want to win. We talk about battle, and hey, you're in it to win it, and you saw that. I mean, I think when we were down, whatever those numbers were, we're all kind of searching to see, all right, how do we fix it? What's the next step? What's going on? And there's really no time for caution or time for kind of complaining. It's like, man, we got to get this fixed and let's go. And so that was very much the feeling on the sideline. And so when it's that way, you feel like we're going to get over this hump.
Despite the fact that he sounds like he's reading a good night book to his kid.
That's after a double overtime win.
I know. Despite that, that was a absolute. I mean, it needed to happen. If they didn't get that win,
oh man,
like that could be season turning around stuff for them that they had. Yep. They could turn themselves into a Big 12 champion because of what they learned in that game and because of what they have. You know how powerful that offense can be. You know how good those athletes are on that field. And I think that Baylor learned something about themselves. And when he said, this is who you guys are, if they start to believe that, that's what happened to BYU last year, right? They started to go, you know what, this is kind of who we are, not the guys who went 0-4 with this guy at quarterback last year. Anyway, I think that Dave Aranda and his guys, they are good enough to be exactly where they are. Finally, I did want to sneak this one, and this is Coach Prime, on putting in quarterback Ryan Staub, the third-string quarterback. And here's what he said in the postgame about Ryan Staub.
I saw what I've been seeing at practice for the last few years. Like, this is who he is. This is who he's always been. He just needed opportunity. That's all he needed.
Well, you're a team-first guy. You're a backup to Shedeur. Stayed on this team this year with two quarterbacks coming in. Why?
I had a dream, and I saw something and I just wanted to chase it. I love being here. I love playing for Coach Prime. And, man, I'm just so blessed I got the opportunity. All I needed was that opportunity, and we got more work to do.
Took advantage of it. Coach, how are you going to manage these 3 quarterbacks going forward with Houston next week in Big 12 play?
I got a plan. Like, I had a plan coming into this game. I have a plan. I don't know if I'm going to disclose it until we get to our destination, but I saw what everybody else saw today. Martin Luther starved. That's what he said. He had a dream, right?
That sound was courtesy of Fox, but
the payoff is always good with Coach Prime, man.
He said everyone he saw, we all saw it today, and now there's reports that Staub, the third-string quarterback, Ryan Staub, is going to be the starting quarterback to open Big 12 play for Colorado this weekend. So pretty crazy stuff. Staub was impressive in that win over Delaware. Maybe he's just going to be now the guy that's the new heir apparent to Shedeur Sanders. He even did the Shedeur move when he had one of the touchdowns. Staub did. So
it was a Swatch watch, though. It was not a Rolex.
Yes.
It's one that I can afford.
It was a little calculator watch, maybe even Casio. Let's take a break. First and 12 game of the week takes coming up next here on KSL News Radio.